Assalamualaikum everyone, it's me Rifa back here again with another episode of Ichi-go Ichi-e, and that is episode 8. It's a show where we discuss and present insights about growth, self-improvement, developing skills, and many more. This show is brought to you by Team Bertho and Guest Girls Movement, Bangladesh Girls Guide. As I've mentioned before, I always appreciate the love and support of my regular viewers, and I'm always welcoming the ones who are reaching us for the very first time. The ones who are actually reaching us for the very first time, hoping that you're going to find our today's topic worth sticking around with. So, the topic for today's session is the key to building confidence. Here we have Lucy as our guest to speak about this topic. She's a 21-year-old student and podcast host from UK who studies physics while acquiring experience from podcasting during her time at university. She states herself as an INTJ personality type, which denotes as a somewhat introverted ideas person who rationalizes when decision making and prefers to have things planned out properly. So I'd request you to join me in welcoming home Lucy.
Hello
there.
Hiya.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah. Well, thanks.
Okay, so I want you to let our viewers know about the topic that you're about to discuss today.
Yeah, so thank you for having me on firstly. It's a real privilege to be here and to share my experiences on your platform. So I'm going to discuss building confidence. Confidence is something that I've definitely found hard to find over the years, and I think I'm still slowly building it up. So I wanted to kind of share things that I've learned along the way and just to kind of help other people feel a little bit more confident maybe. So that was why I decided to talk about confidence really.
Okay, so I want you to start with your presentation from your side without even wasting any more time.
Okay. Do you have the slides? Yeah, perfect. Okay. So hi everyone. I'm Lucy and I'm going to be discussing the key to building confidence just from my experience. Obviously, I'm not an expert or anything, but this is just things that I've learned and things that I would like to share. So that's kind of my presentation, and I'll do a brief overview on the next slide of what I'm going to be talking about. So I've broken it down into a few different sections, and I'm going to start by discussing the confidence myth. These are kind of things that we tend to be told about confidence, things that we like to believe but aren't necessarily true or helpful. And I'm then going to discuss limiting beliefs. So these are beliefs that are holding us back from doing what we really want to do, essentially that feeling of a lack of confidence within us. And then I'll discuss what real confidence means to me and how we can kind of cultivate that, how we can speed up that process of beginning to feel more confident in ourselves. So part 1, as you'll see on the next slide, is all about how we're taught to think about confidence. And then, I'll go into what that means on the next slide. So these are some things that I think we're led to believe about confidence. And from my experience, they're really not very helpful. So we tend to led to believe that some people have confidence and other people don't. It's like this intrinsic personality trait. Some people are seen to be really, really confident. They just come out naturally feeling confident in themselves, and other people really just lack that and they're never going to be able to find confidence. I feel like this is just not very helpful at all, and it's something that we're led to believe but isn't necessarily true. Same thing with outward appearance. We're taught that changing our appearance, maybe by wearing different clothes, by changing our wearing makeup or things like that, or maybe working out or having a certain body type, that will make us feel more confident. Again, I think this is kind of harmful and not necessarily very true. And the third thing is that in order to do something brave, we're led to believe that we need to already have confidence within us. And I'm going to talk about how if we switch that around, it actually makes more sense, because we need to first do things in order to be confident. So it's rather than having the confidence first and then that leading on to doing things, it actually is the other way around. And first we have to do things that make us feel like we are confident and feel like we can trust ourselves. So what happens if we start to question these beliefs? And that's kind of what I'm going to be discussing today. So on the next slide, I have written that real confidence is a feeling, and this is something I definitely think is true. So confidence is not something that comes from the outside. It's definitely something that I think is a feeling within us, and hopefully you can kind of relate to that feeling of just maybe not all the time, but maybe once in your life or often you feel this feeling within you of confidence. And therefore, if it's a feeling, then it doesn't discriminate between different personalities. It doesn't discriminate between your nationality or where you come from, what you look like, any of those external things. It's a feeling, and we're all human beings, so we all have the capacity to feel different emotions, and therefore we can all feel confident, which is a really great thing. It's not limited to certain people. Maybe you're extroverted, might come a little bit easier for you in an outward show of confidence, but I think everyone has this capacity to be confident regardless. So if that's true, then how do we start to feel more confident? So next slide, please. So yeah, this slide is about intrinsic versus extrinsic forms of confidence. And what I mean by this is whether confidence comes from inside or from outside. And there are two definitions here of what confidence means. So the first one that I've picked out is a feeling of self-assurance arising from an appreciation of your own abilities or qualities. And this just means if you're doing something, you back yourself, you're feeling good about it, and you feel like you're worthy of doing whatever it is you're doing, and that's a really great feeling to feel. The second one is that you believe that you can have faith in or rely on someone or something, and here that is in yourself. You're feeling self-confident and you're feeling like you can trust yourself to do the right thing, to make the decisions that are right for you, and that's a really great thing. And note that neither of these two definitions are about extrinsic things. None of them are talking about ways to make your body look better. None of them are talking about ways to kind of enhance your like social skills with the people. It's all about the feeling within you, and that's kind of the really like key distinction that I want to express, is that it's not necessarily about this extrinsic confidence and people acting really like acting from their ego and being overly arrogant, etc. I think it's a lot more of a subtle thing, and that's what I've had to learn, is that for some people it comes really easily to be very outwardly confident and to just express themselves and to be very social and outgoing, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're any more confident in their own actions. So yeah, I think this kind of intrinsic confidence is what I'm trying to focus on and what I think is a more useful thing to value. So next slide, please. So some of the things that I think have really held me back and make me feel like I have a lack of confidence are these things called limiting beliefs. And these are kind of thought patterns that we tell ourselves again and again they'll really harm us and hold us back from doing what we want to do. And for me, some of them look like thinking that people are going to judge me for doing whatever it is that I want to do, for thinking that maybe I'm not smart enough to do that. I need certain qualifications in order to speak on a certain topic, maybe, or to have a certain job. To think, oh, I'm not cool enough to do that. I'm not cool enough to wear that, or to be in that space. And to think that maybe there are many, many other people who would do it better than me. And this idea of imposter syndrome, feeling like, well, there's a million other people that would do a better job and that are better qualified to do whatever it is than you. And ultimately, these beliefs they're just not helpful. Going back to the body image idea, maybe I don't have the figure to wear something like that, or this big question that I come back to a lot, thinking, oh, but what if it all went wrong? And this fear of failure, essentially, feeling like I am going to fail and everything that I want to do is not going to work out for me. But ultimately, these are all limiting beliefs, and they are limiting us, and also they are beliefs, so they can be changed. And our minds are incredibly powerful things. So we definitely have the capability to switch these up, as I'll go into next. So moving on to the next slide, I'm going to talk about a little bit more of an uplifting part of the talk, in that there is a way to build real confidence, this intrinsic confidence, and that there are things that we can choose to believe about confidence that can be really beneficial. So in the next slide, I'm kind of debunking the limiting beliefs from previously. So reframing these limiting beliefs that I put on the previous slide and thinking of them in different ways, because we do have the potential to reframe our thoughts and to therefore act differently and to go about the world in a more positive way. So firstly, do I want to care about other people's opinions more than my own? And this was a big one when I was starting my podcast. I had this fear of, oh, other people are going to judge me for this. They're going to think it's really weird and a little bit cringe. But you have to kind of break through that and just do it anyway and think, do I really want to regret not doing something because other people would judge me for it? And my answer to that was no. So I forced myself basically to do it anyway. I will learn as I go, I think, is a really powerful affirmation. Learning is such a beautiful process. I think that there's so much joy to be found from learning new things and understanding people better, from understanding yourself better, and having this growth mindset, I think, is really helpful. But also appreciating that I'm enough as I am right now. You don't have to change. You don't have to act any differently. You can be yourself and be confident in that. And I think this I am enough mindset is also really, really powerful. I trust myself. This is quite a confidence-driven one. Trusting yourself to make the decisions that are right for you. That's really important. And this appreciation of your body rather than putting it down and seeing all the negatives. Being grateful for all of the amazing things that your body does. I think that can give you so much confidence, because even just waking up each morning, moving and speaking to people, like that's such an amazing thing that our bodies do for us. And finally, reframing that question of failure, the question of what if it all went wrong, and thinking about instead, what if it all went better than I ever could have imagined? What if everything just went to plan and new things came up, new opportunities arose? Like there are so many cool things that can happen. For example, starting my podcast, I never would have imagined that I'd be having this conversation with you, but here we are. Like that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't have created my podcast and stuck at it. So this kind of thought of what if it all went so much better than I ever could have imagined is really powerful, I think. Next slide, please. So I now want to talk about comfort zones. Comfort zones are these kind of areas of security and safety, things that we find fairly easy, routines and habits that are quite second nature to us. And this picture on the left shows how you can actually expand your comfort zone and become more comfortable doing things that previously scared you. For example, like me talking on here, this would have been absolutely terrifying like 2 years ago and I never would have done it. But just through kind of continually expanding your comfort zone, you find you can do so much more and you can have confidence doing things that like past you would never have even done. So in order to do that, though, you need to push past this fear zone. And this can be really hard to do. I definitely relate to this, and I'm in no way an expert on this at all. Definitely still learning and still trying to expand my own comfort zone. But I think that this is an important point because there is definitely going to be a lot of fear, and it's only through breaking through that fear and doing things anyway that we can then find the confidence. We can learn from experiences and grow from them and then have confidence to do it again next time. And going back to what I was saying at the start about instead of having confidence and then that leading to you doing things that scare you, switching it around and actually doing things that scare you first in order to build the confidence is something that I'm really passionate about, and I think it's so important. So yeah, the diagram on the left kind of illustrates this expanding of the comfort zone a little bit, and then on the right we have a diagram which explains how we need to push ourselves, but we don't want to push ourselves too much. So on the left, like the bottom left of that diagram, we have a very low performance and a low pressure situation. So we're not really pushing ourselves, but also we're not achieving anything. We're in our comfort zone and we might be happy there, but we're not really performing optimally. If we then expand and push ourselves a little bit more, we try to get through a little bit of fear in order to reach a higher level of performance. That is where we can really thrive and where we can really make positive changes and do things that are really beneficial to ourselves and other people. And just to highlight that we don't want to push ourselves too much. If we over pressurize the situation, we're only going to reach a point of burnout, and there's no point doing things that you aren't prepared for, things that are just absolutely terrifying to you and that will make you feel even more scared to do things in the future. So just like appreciating this sweet spot in the middle where we can like really make a good difference and really have a positive impact basically. So on the next slide, I have some ideas of ways that we can kind of challenge ourselves, ways that we can push our comfort zones enough, but not too much. So obviously this is not an exhaustive list. There are so many different ways we can do this, but just some that I've pointed out are through creativity, things like writing or drawing or painting. You might find social situations quite difficult. This is definitely one that I am trying to build at the moment. Maybe just being more proactive with how you spend your time and trying to initiate different situations or going to events that you might find a little bit intimidating, but that you can kind of be yourself in. Maybe it's trying a new sport or exploring a new place or speaking up about something that you really care about, or like a more long-term project like starting a podcast or doing public speaking. Obviously there's so many more ways to build your confidence, but I think these are a few things that you could maybe try to expand your comfort zone a little bit. And on the next slide, I wanted to talk about a film that I love. I've loved it since I was a little girl. I absolutely love it, and it's The Sound of Music. And the top photo is from a scene in The Sound of Music where she's singing a song called I Have Confidence. And she's she's just left the place that she called home. She's out in a new city, starting a new job, and she's pretty scared, but she's building up her confidence. She's telling herself these positive affirmations and really just building up this inner confidence in herself to go and push herself and do what she knows is right for her. And I just love this scene. It's a really lovely scene. You can watch it on YouTube if you're interested, or watch the whole film, which is even better. And yeah, I just wanted to bring that in as a little anecdote of an example. But yeah, again, from my own experience, starting my podcast and just being a bit more outgoing with how I spend my time has been a really great way to build that. And I really want to continue building my confidence over time through doing that. And yeah, just to finish up by saying thank you really, and saying that I hope this has kind of given you a little bit of inspiration to grow your own confidence, to maybe push yourself and do something new that is a little bit scary for you, but is something that you really want to do. So yeah, thank you very much. You can find me at Space to Learn Podcast on Instagram. And my podcast is Space to Learn, soon to be Lucy Talks though. So there will be, if you are listening to this later on and can't find Space to Learn, then it will be under the new name of Lucy Talks. But yeah, you can also look at my website, which is lucywoodward.net. And I'd love to chat to you. I'd love to reach out and form new connections. So yeah, thank you very much, Team Bertho. It's been great.
All right, now that I heard the entire thing that you came up with about confidence and all, I totally agree to that point that we actually should come out of our comfort zones in order to be confident, but we shouldn't be extending it way too far, because doing so might actually give us the result that we're not actually looking for. Things might go vice versa. At times we see that we don't get to be confident because we are scared, not really scared. We find it uncomfortable enough to wear something because that might just pop up our body image. Someone might be super healthy and they're just scared or maybe freaking out about the fact that their bulging tummy might just come up and might look bad, even though she or he appears to be more comfortable in that clothing. And because of that, the level of confidence kind of decreases with time, and it will actually hamper them in the long term for their self-growth.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So we have a question over here, and that is, what lesson in life that took you the longest to learn?
Ooh, this is a good question. I think just trusting myself, really, trusting that I will do the right thing for me. I'm now at quite a good point of knowing that I know my boundaries and I know where I want to improve and what decisions I want to make, really. There's so many lessons that I still have to learn, of course, but I think, yeah, just that little bit of confidence is a lesson that I find really valuable that I've learned, and it's definitely taken me a long time.
And now that you have got to know about Team Bertho and about the work that they are connected with, what do you think about it? I mean, how are the work and the progress that they have been making so far?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think that connecting people together is very similar to what I'm trying to do in the creative work that I do, and I think that Team Bertho is an amazing collaboration project, which is very valuable, connecting people across different countries. And yeah, I think it's great. I think that talks like this help to shift perspectives and allow people who didn't have a voice to have a larger voice to speak with. So yeah, I think it's really great.
Yeah, even I'm really glad to be a part of it so that I could communicate with a lot of other people with multiple creative ideas. And such collaboration is actually something that's truly worth it. So, yeah.
Definitely.
I actually have something for you. Like, I want you to say something in Bengali before we're about to wrap it up and close the curtains. And that is, I want you to say it for our audience. Okay? So, this is how it goes. আপনারা সবাই ভালো থাকবেন।
Okay.
আপনারা
আপনারা
সবাই
সবাই
ভালো
ভালো
থাকবেন।
থাকবেন।
ধন্যবাদ।
ধন্যবাদ।
Okay, so what I basically said was, you're telling the audience that you're actually telling the audience to stay safe and sane before we're about to close the curtains, and you thanked them up for being wonderful listeners.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. It's been lovely.
Oh my God, it was really wonderful, and I feel honored to have someone like you to speak about a topic to build the confidence, because confidence is something that we really need in our everyday life. And maybe not having those will actually place ourselves in the dim light and will not be able to grow properly.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Cool. Thank you, Rifa.
It was really nice meeting you, Lucy.
And you.
So today we're at the very end of the session, and I think we're about to close the curtain. So I'd like to thank all of my audience for listening to us about the topic that we indulged ourselves into the conversation. So yeah, thank you. Stay safe and sane, and bye-bye for today. Hoping to meet you soon.